Good morning, friends, and welcome to this talk this morning. And this, I think, will interest many people. And I know it does me, of course. I'd like to introduce Chris Barrell and Amy Dickerson to discuss the purpose of the PIZZ School Project and the charity in 2023 to support it. I do not know which of you two friends would like to speak first, but I'll leave it up to you.
Everybody. Thank you so much for welcoming us today. It's a real privilege to be here amongst friends and to be able to share our journey with you with our charity, Transformation Through Education. We look forward to sharing with you PIZZ School today and how it started, where we are and where we'd like to go. So yes, my name is Amy and this is my granddad, Chris. He'll come through and introduce himself and just a few other special guests that he has got with him today.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. So today I'm here in a town called Motse in Zambia. I'm actually in the school at PIZZ School, and I have with me a particularly important lady. This is Mrs. Sianga, who set up the school in about 2020. No, 2020. In the year 2000. Yeah, and her husband who helps her run the school. We have in the distance the headmaster and two of the teachers. At the end of the session, I will we will answer questions from with myself, Mr. and Mrs. Sianga, and hopefully the head teacher will be able to join us at the end. However, we also have here, as a special treat, if I can show you them, some of the local children who are just going to welcome you properly.
Hello, hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? We are fine, just fine. Good morning, how are you? Hello, hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? We are fine, just fine. Good morning. How are you? You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Welcome.
Enough. Enough.
You are welcome.
Thanks, Ed.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Welcome. You are welcome. You are free to talk. You are free to talk. You are free to talk. Free to talk. You are free to talk. You are free You are free to us. You are free to us. Free to us. You are free to us. You are excellent, yes. You are excellent, yes. You are excellent, yes. Excellent, yes. You are excellent, yes. We can go, we can go, we can. We can go, we can go, we can.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you.
Thank you. That was so lovely.
Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. So what we will do now, Amy will take over and start the presentation, and we will run through that now. Okay, thank you.
It wasn't that so sweet.
Absolutely beautiful.
How lovely of them. So yes, we are Transformation Through Education, and we fund a school in Monza in Zambia. We fund everything the school needs to run. So that's from the teachers' salaries to school meals, any children's uniforms, any extra support, and anything in between. Today we'll talk to you a little bit about why my granddad started the charity back in 2023, and why we want to take it. Sorry, the postman's just put something through the door. It's my dog barking. So for as long as I can remember, my granddad's passion has been helping others, and Monza definitely stole his heart. I'm my grandparents' #1 fan, and when they offered me the opportunity to go to Africa with them, obviously I had to say yes. I was really, really lucky that I got to, as a 15-year-old, I got to experience Africa, Zambia, where the school was. I got to go on safari, as you can see here in this picture. And here we have a picture. This is me and my nan, and we went to a little village, and they just come round you and they sing to you, and you're really treated like royalty. So you can imagine, as a 15-year-old, this was quite an experience for sure. The lady whose village it was, her name was Jennifer. She is unfortunately not with us anymore, but she was an absolute, just, if she was born in the UK, she would have been, I don't know, in charge of something serious, and she would have just absolutely thrived. She was incredible. But she helped a lot of people with AIDS, HIV. She had women's support groups and stuff, and she was just a real inspiration to me. And just seeing the difference that she made definitely inspired me into one of the reasons why I'm here today. This is one of her children that she took in. This is Emmanuel, and unfortunately his mum passed away at his birth, which is a very common occurrence still over there, at this time. My granddad made, as he takes photos, and he actually made them a book, which he gave them. Emmanuel must be maybe like 12, 13 now, I would presume. And he's got this book, and when he was younger, he used to say that I was his white mum. Which we all found, we've just found quite funny. But obviously it was such an uncommon thing to have a white lady, especially, holding him as a child. So that was quite funny. But this is him, and this is one of the children that he took in. Here's me and my granddad. Here is the man behind it all. And Pearce School is still able to run because of his passion. And I'm very lucky that I get to work alongside him in this project. So that's kind of my story. That's a little bit about why I'm here today, and yeah, how I'm involved in the charity. I'll pass you over to Chris. He can give a little bit more detail in how he kind of came about to how he came into Monze in the first place, and just talk to you a little bit about Mrs. Sianga, and how the school came about really. So I'll hand you over now.
Okay, thank you, Amy. So this is Monze Mission Hospital. In 2003, I was involved in a small project. In theory, we were building an intensive care unit at Monze Mission Hospital. In practice, we filled a hole with some rubble and knocked a wall down. Not to be too concerned, the ICU did eventually get built. But this was my first introduction to Zambia and to Africa, and really as a labourer. Amy? Right. When we first went over to do the project, I was told that I shouldn't say that I was doing work, not even voluntary work, but should say that I'm going to see friends. I felt a bit guilty about that, but decided that in order to satisfy my conscience, maybe I ought to make friends. So over the last 20 plus years, I've been doing that. I've been getting to know local people. This guy here is Obert, and as you say, he's proudly showing a new leg that he has. His previous one didn't grow. Now, I was looking at the slides for this presentation earlier, and I got stuck on this one. This picture was probably taken or possibly taken in 2003. One afternoon, I was asked if I would go out with a nurse. And that nurse turned out to be Mrs. Sianga. She was doing what was called home-based care. Essentially, all her patients had HIV/AIDS and were dying. At the time, there weren't any proper drugs to contain the disease. So all she had was a few paracetamol tablets and some kind words, and all her patients would die. Now, it was a great privilege for me to be invited along, and somehow I was welcomed into the houses of ladies that were suffering from HIV/AIDS. I suspect that many wouldn't have lived for more than 1 or 2 months after we'd seen them. And it had a profound effect on me. One, I saw part of Monze that I hadn't seen before. The area is very, very poor. It's very easy for visitors to come to Monze and not see what's just beyond on some of the back roads, within 100, 200 yards of where they're walking. So that was one aspect. I was amazed that I was actually welcomed into people's houses at this very difficult time in their lives. Now, Mrs. Nyanga got to know the families of her patients and was worried about the orphan children that had been left. And it was because of that that she decided that rather than risk them going onto the streets with all the risks that they might come across there, that she started a little school. And so that was the origins of PIZZ school. Now, I looked again at this photo. It's been around for a long time, but I haven't looked very closely. There are 4 children, and they all are looking straight at the person taking the photographs, probably me. But I look at them and I think, I wonder what's happened to them. This is now over 20 years ago. Have they all survived? Have any of them managed to get decent jobs? I don't know. Maybe one or more than one managed to get to school, maybe to PIZZ school, and have an education. Anyway, it was this visit that in many ways changed my life and made me decide I wanted to come back and really make friends and to get to understand a little bit more about Monse and the people. So, and from Mrs. Nyanga, the home-based care was the trigger to start building a school. So perhaps you have the next slide. This is outside. Well, Mrs. Nyanga and her family had a couple of buildings available that they started to use as a school. One of her daughters had just qualified as teacher, so she started teaching the children. As you can see here, after a very few years, the initial classrooms were getting overcrowded, and children were actually being taught in the corridors. So, fortunately, a donor was found who was prepared to buy some land that they could use for a school. And funding was found to put up some classrooms. These are the first dozen or so bricks that are ready for volunteers to come and help build the new school. Next slide. And now the school is developed so that they take from preschool up to grade 9, which I think equates more or less to the year 9 in the UK. There are now over 500 children learning at the school. You can see that the environment is quite pleasant. There are some trees planted. The place is kept reasonably clean and tidy, and the children are well presented and well behaved. This is actually, there's a, oh, sorry, don't worry. So this is in one of the classrooms in the new school. a bit more space than the original classrooms. Yes, I was going to change the caption on this. It's actually celebrating a goal. I took this picture some years ago, and it struck me as very significant. What had happened was that there was a match between PIZZ and another school, and PIZZ had just scored a goal, and this is a pitch invasion. So all the children are diving onto the pitch, cheering and laughing and generally enjoying themselves. Now, the reason this is so significant is that very often when the children come to the school, they're severely traumatized. Perhaps they've lost their parents. They might then have been moved to grandparents. They might have also lost grandparents and suffered a lot of trauma. I've seen a lot of the children as they've arrived at the school, and some of them, they're almost cowering in the corner. They don't speak much. There are no smiles. And after a year or so, this is what we get. Really happy, normal children that are prepared to enjoy themselves and join in. So that to me is the transformation. Our charity is called Transformation Through Education, and the transformation for me is the way the children become proper, lively little cheeky children instead of being the traumatized people that we first see when they come to the school. So, okay. Next slide. Right. So there are children that have gone through the school that I've got to know well. This girl here is Mawini. I first met many years ago. I don't know. Have we got a picture of Mawini now?
Yeah.
So Mawini is now in Japan.
Oh, wow.
She did a degree in veterinary science and was a veterinary surgeon at university in Lusaka for 2 or 3 years. But she's now obtained a sponsorship to do a doctorate over in Japan. Mawini is now very much involved in our charity. I was talking to her about a year ago, and she was saying how she never expected to get an education at all, but she was offered a place at his school, and then the delight when she was given a uniform. So for someone like that, and now she's doing very well. She says that she's able to help her siblings finish their education. Her mother says that she's in the best position that she's ever been in. And what we want with the charity is that for a lot more people like Mawini to succeed and be able to take themselves and their families out of poverty. So, right, just a few figures, which I'm having difficulty reading. Roughly speaking, the sort of minimum level that our charity has to run at is about 35,000 a year. Now that provides almost all the funding necessary just to keep the school running. In practice, there is some children pay small fees to help with some of the maintenance costs. We would like to be in a position where no child, where school fees are not needed in order to cover the costs. And there's a lot more we would like to do to make sure that children like Mawini can go to university or have other sorts of training. So we're a long way off that at the moment. But at the moment, we're running at about 35,000 a year. We need to increase that. I would like to see that go over 100. Then we can start being sure that the children can go to college and we can do other training, maybe in building, mechanics, driving. You know, there are lots of. Okay.
So we've tried to come up with a couple of different ways of fundraising. And back in August last year, my granddad was having some treatment over about 20 days. And it just so happens he has about 20 different African t-shirts. So he thought, what can we do with this? So for each day we had a different shirt, and it was just a bit of a social media thing. So we just thought we'd share with you some of the things that we'd had on social media. I don't know if you'll get music, but you can still see the photos. So hopefully that just showed a couple of bits and pieces that we were just trying to show to our social media group. We've recently been lucky enough to have a new partnership with a charity called Let Yourself Trust. They are a charity who pick two different charities throughout the year to support. And there is a musician called Martin Joseph. He when he goes on tour, he will then let the crowd know about the charity that they are supporting, and then help to get donations on behalf of the charity that they are supporting. I'll put some links in the chat below if you wanted to have a little look at their website. And ours, of course. So yeah, we're super duper lucky to be working alongside at the moment. So that's just a couple of different ways we're trying to get money in for Peer School at the moment. Chris, I'll let you take on the science block, which is our current project, which we're trying to fund for the school.
Hopefully you'll be able to see an updated version of the foundations for the science block a little later.
So we're currently we've started building the science block, and this is for to make the school a secondary school as well. And in order to be able to do that, they have to have a science block. So that's our current project, to be able to keep the children in for secondary education so that we can follow through, that they're still making, that they're getting the support that they need going forward. There's lots of different ways that you can help. We're still very early on in obviously of setting up the charity. So following us on social media, if you're on there, we have a child sponsorship program, obviously fundraising, donating. We would absolutely love to do more talks. So if there's any other groups you're involved in or know anybody else where we can talk and just share our stories and our journey, and what we're trying to do, that would be muchly appreciated. But I'll put any links, like I said, in the chat, and you can have a little look and check out all of our bits and pieces. But I believe that brings us to the end of our slideshow.
I'll just say a little bit, if I can, about the school project. It's not just a school. As I say, the children often come very traumatized. They have a lot of issues, but at the school, there is an attempt to try and understand what the problems of the children are, and then deal with them with their parents or guardians. It's so easy for the children to drift away. They might, for some reason, problems at home, they might not come to school for a few days. Here at PIZZ, if that happens, someone would go round to their house and find out what the issues are and see if they can resolve the issues so they come back. That doesn't happen if they're at government schools. In addition to that, the government schools are free. However, the children have to have school uniforms, they have to have shoes, they have to have notebooks, and so on. And for many, these things are just beyond, their resources. And the children would not go to school if these things aren't provided. So these are actually provided through the PIZZ project and the funds that come from transformation through education. The children also receive free school lunches each day, or a free meal each day. And it's surprising that when children come, many will come without having eaten anything in the morning. And it's very difficult for them to concentrate on their lessons if they're hungry. So that's another feature of the school. And then at the end, as I said before, we hope to try and help them to get into some sort of employment by giving them additional training, education, or whatever's needed.
Chris,
okay.
Can you flip the camera on your computer? We can see the room. We can't see you.
I do apologize.
No.
I did that obviously for the for the children and forgot to put it back again.
It's better. Thank you.
I didn't realize that you wanted to see me.
We do.
Chris.
It's such a wonderful story. It's lovely to see your smiling face.
Yeah, I'm actually in the computer room. You might see some of the computers behind me and around.
Right. I'm really glad the connection's so good. That's amazing.
Not bad, is it?
No, that's fantastic. Chris, shall I just say something about when I went? I went to Zambia as a volunteer for a month, and this was quite some years ago, 2000 and ooh, four, five? I can't remember. Oh no, it must anyway. But it was a great experience. I mean, there were some ups and downs, but I I felt like a bit of a spare part because I didn't have a background as a teacher. Um, I hadn't come equipped to help the children, teach them anything. So I just wondered what on earth I could do. So apart from trying to help out one of the volunteers who had been a teacher and very experienced, I did a bit of that. But she was very much an in charge person, so it was quite difficult to find stuff to do. And then I thought, well, I've got medical knowledge. Maybe the staff would appreciate some first aid lessons. So we had some great fun acting, fainting, and acting ill so that we could practice some first aid. That was hilarious and really good fun. And then I went to see their garden because it's a fabulous garden you've hardly spoken about, Chris. I don't know if it still goes. And I learned how to plant tomatoes, and they had lots of little tomato seedlings. And if you treat any seed right in Africa, it will grow. So I prepped some soil in the garden at the back of the cathedral where we were housed, and prepped a bit of land to receive these little tomato seedlings. And it gets dark quite quickly. The days are not as long ever as ours are. And so when I got back from PIZZ, which is quite a walk, it's a mile or something, isn't it? Or mile and a half. Then I got prepping this little area. Next day, when I was bringing the tomato seedlings back, I saw that the rest of the area had been prepped by somebody. It was such teamwork. I think the gardener had just taken over. He knew exactly what he was doing. So by the end of 2 days, there were a whole lot of new tomato plants growing out there. It was just such fun. So I thought, right, what else can I do along the plant line? And I just decided to offer some trees. And we went out, Mrs. Sianga and her husband and I, we went out to a health worker's house, and he had dedicated his entire garden to growing little trees and selling them and providing trees for the area because trees are being so cut down for fuel, obviously, and there was hardly any left. And so I bought some little treelets, and we I did that towards the end of my stay, and Mrs. Sianga then divvied them up and gave a child one each to be responsible for. And when I just saw those trees just now growing, Chris, that's wonderful.
It's such a beautiful garden. They've done a really, I don't even think when I went the garden did not exist. It might have done, but it looks incredible now.
Mm. And Mrs. Sianga taught me about choosing trees. You choose trees for shade, for windbreaks, for fruit, and obviously for beauty and flowers. Not for wildlife at that time, but then, that was quite a good lesson how to choose your trees.
Chris, are you able to show us around?
I am. I wonder if there's any questions that people would like to ask either myself or Mrs. Sianga.
Oh, is Mrs. Sianga there?
Mrs. Sianga is here, yes.
Oh,
We had some problem with the video on the laptop, but I can find Mrs. Sianga.
Hello.
hello. Mrs. Sianga, thank you so much for welcoming us so well, so beautiful. I still wear my dress. You know, the dress.
Welcome.
You gave each of us a chitengi, and the sewing shop, the women who did sewing so well just by eye, they said one chitengi couldn't be made into a dress for me. There wasn't enough. And I said, I know there is enough. And they made me a dress and I wear it. Thank you.
We shall send you another one.
And I love your teaching me about the trees. Thank you so much. I'm glad they are such a success.
Yes, only about how many trees? 2 trees.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris, I haven't really had a chance to look at the chat. Could I just make sure that there are details of how we can? I mean, some of us might choose to donate something every month, perhaps. And will the chat include details of how to do, of the bank details and so on?
Yeah, if I send them through to you,
yes,
I assume you can distribute them and so on. So I can send you all the information. Yeah.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
I have put them on the chat. So if you go, there's a link to our website, and there's a bit where it says on there, and it's got all the details. So if you wanted to look on the website, you can do that. There's also a Just Giving link on there as well.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Okay.
Right. So what I perhaps do is go for a little wander. If I can turn myself round, there we are. Find myself to the door. The door was banging, so it's not now. So
I love that everything's purple.
we'll go out into
Even
the
curtains.
sunshine.
Oh.
You won't actually see the sun. There's a lot of wind.
So if we mute ourselves, we may well be able to hear him better.
Good thinking.
So this is the very nicely.
If you can hear me, if you just stand still when you're talking, I think we'll be able to hear you.
Yeah. We may be picking up wind.
Right. 2 fish ponds. The gardens have been mentioned.
Maybe walking too far from the Wi-Fi.
Trees, Hattie.
So I believe that area there is just where they've been growing their own vegetables, just to add a little bit extra into the children's diets with their mealy meal.
Yeah. We can sell some surplus, but over on the other side is some maize. So maize is the staple diet over here in Zambia. You'll see in front of you a water tank. So there is a borehole. So they bore deep down into the ground until they hit water, and then that water is pumped up into the water tank and then distributed around the grounds. There are some taps where the children are taking some water there, and the water goes also to the toilets and across the road to the junior school. And you see there a banana plant. I don't know how many are familiar with bananas. Unfortunately, there aren't any bananas on it. No. The school is split over two sides. This is the junior school, the senior school, which will become the secondary school. On the other side is primary school.
I'll just mention the primary school when I went, the primary school had determined to install flushing loos for the children without water. That wasn't going to work.
Yeah. So,
Are those shops, Chris? What's that?
grocery.
Stay still.
There are more and more shops and buildings coming up around the site. Originally, it was very much on its own,
Yeah.
but now you can see it's very much built up. So this is the primary school.
It's just so amazing to see this live, It's just, it's amazing.
I was just thinking, when I was there, I can remember the dust is so orange.
Yeah.
And it just looks very orange there now.
Yeah, we're waiting for the rain at the moment. So the rain should come in about the next few weeks. So it's very dry at the moment. So this, I believe, is one of Hattie's trees. And I think that one over there is the other of trees that Hattie planted. Were they a bit smaller when you planted them, Hattie?
I think they were about 9 inches tall.
It's beautiful.
When it does start to rain, how long does it rain for, Chris?
What you mean during the day? What my experience is that you always wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to sunshine. About 10 o'clock, clouds come up. About midday, you have some torrential rain for an hour or so. About 2 or 3 in the afternoon, the sun comes out again. But it is torrential rain. then
Chris?
it, it should rain from sort of early November through to April. If it does that, then they should be able to grow the maize and so on. But it's very, over the last few years, hit and miss whether the crops end up growing.
Anybody missed that? I think you just said they get about 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours of rain a day, and it should start at the beginning of November. But it's been a little hit or miss at the moment in regards to how much rain they are getting. So hopefully they'll get enough to keep the crops going this year.
Okay.
Chris?
Yes.
Chris? Who is building the science block?
Now, I just realised that I haven't shown you science, but when you say who is building it, I'm saying who are the builders or who's paying for it.
Is it volunteers or local people?
No, there will be local builders that are doing the work.
Okay.
I would just run back and show you how far they've got with the building.
Okay.
It's, I'm hoping that the concrete slab is either there or very nearly there.
So we're hoping to finish the groundwork before the rain comes, because otherwise it will all fall back down. So we're just waiting on some concrete bits to go in to obviously stabilise all the groundwork before the rains.
I want to also say something about disability, because when I was there, I was introduced to people who were trying to help disabled people have a better quality of life. Deaf people, blind people, and this artificial limb idea. So I wondered if the local support for these people has actually improved over the years.
To be honest, I'm not sure it has. The taxi driver who brought me today he is the one that was in the picture with his leg.
Yeah.
So he is now a taxi driver. Now, I think there was a time where artificial limbs were almost free. To get hold of them, they were. Yeah, we're now back at the senior school, and I'm just going up to the foundations for the science block. And it's looking good.
Do you have any sketches or anything of how it will look when it's completed? Is it going to be two-story? I guess not too high because it will be too hot. Is that right?
Yes, it'll just be a single-story block.
Yeah.
So the concrete slab is bit of
Oh, yeah.
change. But yeah, so the key work that needed to be done before the rains come has now been completed. So it should be safe. So the aim is to find some funding so that we can complete the building next year. And also the equipment's going to cost something.
Chris, that's fabulous. What a great note to end on, because we are coming to the end.
Before we do that, I would like to ask a question.
Right.
I think Amy and Christopher may be able to answer this. What do you see as the future of this project?
The project has always really been to provide an opportunity for some of the poorest, most vulnerable children to get out of poverty. And in order to do that, they have to be supported throughout their education and given the opportunity to make best use of their talents, whether that's through further education or some sort of skills training, so that they don't go through the process of passing some exams and then going back on the streets. I mean, the aim is to see them all the way through until hopefully they can employ to look after themselves and their families.
I think that we also want to hopefully be in a place where we have enough support that it will kind of like the finances that Chris went through earlier will be able to sort of cover that and then fundraise for these extra things that we are different to government schools to fund going forward. Is kind of our aim goal is to almost be a bit self-sufficient in that way, that we have sort of enough people that are supporting the school on a regular basis to be able to just keep it going.
The issue with our charity is that what happened is that at the end of 2022, the previous funders decided to stop funding completely. So we came in with a school that was already up and running and needing a lot of money. So at the moment, we're managing to keep the school going. There's a lot more we would like to do. And I'm sure we'll get there. It just take a little bit of time.
I think it's just getting our name out there, sharing our story and what we do and how people can do those little bits to help support.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much for having us today, because it's so beneficial for us to be able to get our story out there. So thank you so much.
Well, we will certainly do everything we can to get this out further afield. And as I say, I'm sure I would think some of us will be helping directly financially.
One thing that Central could do, and I think Patsy would agree with me on this, is that every Sunday after meeting we have a collection, which we have a collection which goes on for I think a year, and that is all got together. And I think we we could have a very good chance of that you being a collection for the next year.
Oh, thank you. That would be amazing to be put forward for that. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's often a lot of small things, but they add up.
They really, especially there. I think it's something about £7 to feed a child theoretically for the year.
Gosh.
Which is insane. £15, sorry.
Still pretty humbling, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Oh, I think £7 are the bags that we're trying to get at the minute.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I've been diverted a little bit.
I believe these are mango trees.
I do too.
I love this mango. They won't be right for a sky.
I'm sorry I need to go, but thank you so much. What an inspiration.
Thank you so much for your input, Hattie. That's really lovely to hear your story and your experience there as well.
And we will be putting this out on our regular cycle on YouTube, but we do find a lot of people who can't actually get to a Friday morning. They do watch us, what have we done later on. So
any feedback or anything that you get, please let us know, because everything kind of helps.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your input as well.
No problem.
Hattie, what are we doing next week?
Yes, next week, our friend Heather Lister is going to be talking about a Quaker and prison and working in a prison. So that would be pretty interesting in a different way.
David, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'm posed with the biggest problem because it's the longest title we've ever had for a talk, and YouTube only lets you have 100 characters. But I expect they'll just cut it off short. But just to thank you, Amy and Chris, for a wonderful talk. Full heart all the way through, and that's really beautiful. Wonderful to see that the technology with a fellow continent for us, for the place is very close to them. And, beautiful to see this, and I just hope that in our world, this testimony, we can more and more support continents, communities. It's lovely what you are doing so personally and so beautifully.
It comes from I think a place of passion, and I think hopefully that's what we are able to put across.
Yeah.
Patsy, you're on mute.
Thank you. No, it does come across really clearly. I mean, I was near tears on a couple of occasions. It's most moving and inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Hello, Chris. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Chris. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.